uncover the unique story of the Vasa Schip, a pristine warship from 1628 adorned with hundreds of wooden sculptures, and find out why it's become such an important part of maritime history. Is a warship constructed in Sweden between 1626 and 1628. On August 10, 1628, the ship sank around 1,300 meters into her inaugural trip. She was lost to history until she was discovered again in the late 1950s in a busy shipping area in Stockholm harbor. This was after the majority of her priceless bronze cannons were recovered in the 17th century. The ship's hull was virtually intact when it was recovered in 1961. Up until 1988, she was kept in Wasavarvet, the Vasa Shipyard, a transient museum, before being permanently relocated to the Vasa Museum in Stockholm's Royal National City Park. Over 35 million people have visited the ship since 1961, making it one of Sweden's most visited tourist destinations. The ship was constructed on King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden's instructions as a result of the military development he started during a conflict with Poland-Lithuania. She was built in Stockholm's Navy Yard from 1626 to 1627 under a deal with private businessmen, and her primary armament consisted of bronze cannons made specifically for the ship in Stockholm. When she was finished, she was one of the most heavily armed ships in the world and was richly ornamented as a representation of the king's ambitions for Sweden and himself. Vasa, however, had an excessive amount of weight in the upper portion of the hull, making it dangerously unstable. She was ordered to sea despite this lack of stability, and foundered just a few minutes after coming into contact with a wind no more powerful than the breeze. A number of things led to the command to set sail. At the time of her maiden trip, the monarch, who was in charge of the army in Poland, was keen to see her assume her position as the reserve squadron's flagship at Lufsnabane in the Stockholm archipelago. The king's officials lacked the political guts to publicly address the ship's issues or to request that the inaugural voyage be delayed at the same time. The Swedish Privy Council launched an investigation to identify individuals in charge of the catastrophe, but nobody was ultimately held accountable. Numerous artifacts and the bodies of at least 15 persons were discovered in and around Vasa's hull by marine archaeologists during the 1961 salvage. 6 of the 10 sails as well as clothing, guns, cannons, tools, cash, silverware, food, and drink were among the numerous objects discovered. Scholars have gained priceless knowledge on the specifics of naval combat, shipbuilding skills, and daily living in early 17th century Sweden thanks to the artifacts in the ship itself. Vasa is currently the best preserved ship from the 17th century and the most popular museum in Scandinavia. Vasa's wreck is continuously observed, and new studies into how to preserve her are conducted.